Stop recording video. Dimmed. Stop recording video.
And,
Button.
And I did that. I'm like, does that mean I get the part? You know? And they're like, no. Okay. And then
this is really important because had he not gotten this role, Johnny and I would be here.
well, kind of. I mean, then they wanted us to then audition folks, and this is what we proposed to them. We said we can do auditions in America and sort of get the right.
Did you all audition for Dante?
Yeah, so I had all you guys audition for. I don't know if I had you audition for just Dante or Dante and Virgil. I don't maybe both. Just Dante.
You had me at Dante and Virgil.
And Virgil. And I brought in others. I think I even had Jason Vaughn come in for
right.
as well.
He said that.
I think so these are all
he
Power
wasn't,
Rangers.
he wasn't cool enough.
He didn't spray paint his hair. He wasn't going to instead. But we sort of, so they, I don't know why I spray painted my hair. I'm looking back at that now. Like, that was just ridiculous. But I guess it sort of helped me get the role because maybe, they had this image of me with silver hair. And so, anyways, I orchestrated.
Burned in their brains for the rest of their
Yes.
lives.
And I orchestrated the auditions, and this was so I was on board as a producer as well as the role of Dante, but I didn't even know if I had the role of Dante. I was sort of going through the translation processes with the script, helping with that, helping with the rewrites, and a lot of it was like, this doesn't make sense. We have to rewrite this. We have to do this. So the first Devil May Cry 3 was me and my partner translating it, just me and him. We translated the whole script. So that's ultimately what the dialogue that's there, and then we tweaked it once we hired the performers. Dan, gave a lot of input. Johnny gave a lot of input on his role. So actually, that's why I think the Devil May Cry experience, my experience with it, and for both 3 and 4, and the team that was brought together was everybody collaborated in so many ways, and nobody was. There was no, we had a writer there that was helping Mike Cooney for part 4. Part 3, there wasn't, he wasn't around. We didn't have the budget, and we just didn't think that far ahead. But we had a little more money for 4, and we were like, well, let's get a properly trained writer here to help us out with this stuff. And, but everybody really put in everything, they had the basic concept, and then it was the collaborative of everybody that did it. But yeah, actually, I'm just still thinking about my hair being sprayed.
I mean, one of the things I remember is, that I thought was a good reason to have people like us, is that there were a lot of things that didn't really translate. Like some of the stances that they had you doing or whatever, and just certain things didn't really translate to the world, I guess. It was more a cultural thing for Japan.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that Capcom wanted me to do, and so this is the difficult position with where I was at, because I was a producer and an actor on it, and I spoke fluent Japanese, and I was so embedded in the Japanese culture that they sort of didn't see me as an authority on English or on being American, even though I am mostly Japanese on the inside. But they sort of wouldn't. I would tell them something like, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to fly in the West. In English-speaking countries, if you do that, that's not going to. Oh, no, we don't believe you. And that's literally, they would do that all the time, and I'd have to drag Johnny or Dan or other cast, and I'd say, can you explain to these people that this is just not cool in the West? And they're like, no, Reuben doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not American. Jeez. And that was sort of what was happening a lot in 3. And what happened, I didn't have these guys with me in 3. It was for the first, Dan sort of came a little bit later. I had the first couple of days of shooting where it was just me doing cutscenes. And I was getting so frustrated that they were telling me to do things. I'm like, no, this is, and I had 50 directors, 50 cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And And I just got so upset, and I sort of did like a typical actor thing, and I just started pouting. And typical actor.
Typical actor.
Typical actor thing. I started out looking at both of you guys, and I pouted. And I didn't listen to anybody, and I was like, screw this, which actually really helped.
What you do, yeah. That's
Which actually helped the character, because the character, is that character. Like, I don't screw this. I don't.
Sometimes you're going to get so many notes from 10 producers, director, showrunner, writer, and they don't, usually when you're getting 10, 15 different sets of notes, they're always, of course, contradicting, and it's a sign that they don't know what they're looking for, so you have to show them. And so what I learned to do, and I learned this on Power Rangers actually, is the first take is always mine. I listen to him, I go, okay, yeah, sure. And then I just do what I'm gonna do for at least the first 1 or 2 takes. And usually I find, and almost, I'm talking when I say usually, almost 100% of the time I find they go, that's what I'm talking about. And I'll look at them and I'll go, no, that's not what you said. In my mind, because I want them to feel like they won. 100% of the time they'll go, almost 100% of the time they'll go, that's exactly what we were talking about, good job, good job. Everybody will come up and start congratulating, good job, that's it. And what you realize is they didn't really know what they wanted, they just wanted to see something interesting.
Yeah.
And you can get caught in this vicious cycle where you're trying to please all of their notes, and you're no longer doing something interesting. And so that's why you've got to actually do, of course, what an actor, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, my first day on Devil May Cry was miserable, because I was trying to please everybody and incorporate all the notes and do all this stuff, and then it drove me nuts, and then I just was like, no. And then by day two, I think halfway through, I just gave up, and I was like, no, screw this. And then I started just doing my own thing, and then they're like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm like,
it's amazing to watch.
That is nothing what you said.
It's amazing to watch happen. And
but yeah, that was my lesson. See, I hadn't had, I'd been mostly stunt guy, smaller roles. Like Dante was my biggest role up until that time. So I hadn't had that sort of, other than with just stunts, just basic, physical movements.
I think that's how the characters that you end up loving are actually born. You ask a lot of actors. Go back and talk to a lot of actors who've done characters that people remember through time, and it's going to be a similar situation. And Dante is not Dante without Reuben. I can't do Dante. I cannot do Reuben's Dante. And Reuben's
Dan
Dante
actually auditioned for Dante for part 4.
And I was damn good.
He was. He was just not that Dante. Because they again, this is going
once
back.
He established himself as that character, that's it. That's him. He owns it. And nobody can do it as well as he can. Well,
except for Dan.
No, I can't.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's an actor or two out there.
Okay.
As well. But the point is, he brings
Robert De Niro.
himself to. No, I don't think Robert
Matt
De Niro
Damon?
would be Dante. No.
Okay. All right.
Now, who is out there that could do a Dante that would be good? Should we even be bringing this up?
No. Let's not go there. No. Let's bring this. So it's funny because going back to this not trusting me because I speak fluent Japanese, it's just so weird. And because I'm too close to them or something. It was weird. If you don't speak the language, you're somewhat of a foreigner. And there's no offense to any Japanese that are in the audience. Sorry, Miho, if you understand anything I'm saying. I don't mean any offense. It's not all Japanese. It's just this situation. But I just became too close to everybody. I was like their buddy, their friend, and they were like, he's too close. And then for part 4, they were like, yeah, Dante's older and he's different. And even though I was like in my 30s, they were like, yeah, Dante's like 19 and
He's 19,000.
19,000 years old in part 3, and now he's like in his 30s in part 4. And I'm like, I'm in my 30s. Like, no. You did Dante in 3. That's young Dante, and you're young Dante. We need old Dante. Let's call that. And I was
a damn good old Dante.
You were like
problem
10.
was,
You were 100,000 years old.
I had the reverse
Yes.
problem. I had already established Virgil.
Right. Every time they saw Dante.
They see me as Dante.
Yeah. So luckily, because if they brought in anybody else other than Dan to audition.
Get Dan.
No, I did it. They all wanted to see you. Stop it. I don't know. You became Kratos.
I didn't even talk as Kratos.
You were Kratos.
I was just walking around as Kratos.
You still work, right?
Okay, how many of you guys knew that Dan was Kratos in Devil May Cry 4? He was not the voice, but he was the motion capture body actor.
To be honest, when I heard them afterwards and saw the cutscenes, I was like, I was so used to yours. I was like, that's weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff I'm going to show you if we ever get on. How's that coming, by the way? Do you have an adapter thingy? Is that anybody?
I'm talking to you because you're standing there.
You're near the tech.
Everybody at that table just seems to
They
run
just
away.
took off. The tech guys were like, screw it.
It's on the way. Yes.
Run away.
Awesome. So yeah, we're gonna show some Dan as Kratos. It really is a tight family.
No, I think it's great how it happened because now they're gonna bring us back to
Okay.
perhaps in the future there's a alternate universe where
Okay. So I shared with these guys. I'll share with you guys what I shared with these guys. Okay. This is what I know. I'm not in direct communication. This is absolute fact. I cannot lie. I
there
made
is
a
a
vow.
tremendous amount of
I have made a vow to not lie for the rest of my life. I promise. And this is not lying because I don't lie. There is rumors, and I know I've heard rumors from people who know people
in a galaxy far, far away.
in a galaxy far, far away known as Pac-Com. So I have had no direct
Pac-Com.
Yes. Pac-Com. That's kind of what it sounded at the end of the game, whenever like at the game trailer. Pac-Com.
Pac-Com. That's exactly how it sounds, isn't it? Pac-Com.
No, they say it really fast. Pac-Com. Yeah. So, anyways, so I know a guy, or a girl, or a guy and a girl, who know people at Capcom, and I've heard from them. So this is rumors. There is no direct. I cannot confirm anything because I haven't had any direct conversations with anybody.
It's what we were talking about the sighting of an alien.
You want to talk about aliens? We can talk about aliens.
Imagine a world where that's
I know this is a Devil May Cry panel, but we can talk about aliens. No, we'll save that for 11:30. So, anyways, I know a guy and a girl and who know people, and I've heard things.
Okay, you worked this up right to the point. Bring us the release.
Release.
Give us the money shot.
There's rumors that there could be a Devil May Cry 5. Within the same universe and characters that we have portrayed in the past. And somebody even told me today, I think it was you, that said on their fiscal, on their books.
It was like I'm assuming it's some sort of leak of their fiscal year sales.
Fiscal year
Or
sales.
something like that. There was two blanks that just said, one was for 2016, one said Dead Rising series, and one said Devil May Cry series. That's all
Right.
it said.
Right, okay,
And
so it's
so
like,
it's not DMC 4 special edition or DMC DD.
right.
Because that was 2016.
Well,
So in the projections for 2016,
They have an idea.
there seems to be a Devil May Cry
So don't
series.
go out there and ruin it by tweeting it just yet.
Right, and I should also throw this, that there has been direct, because I get forwarded stuff all the time, people are like, is this true? And I'm like, if they're saying it's true, I guess it's true. I don't know, I'm not talking to him directly, but Itsuno-san, Itsuno-san, who was the sort of the game director for Devil May Cry 3 and 4, 2, 3 and 4, and I think he was like a consultant for the one that we're not going to talk about. And he had said that
In that emo?
that they were discussing and talking about it and stuff. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's rumors, and I guess the only thing that I can say with my rumor that makes it a little more exciting is that they would be bringing us back. So that's the exciting little tidbit of that rumor.
Are there still emos out there? Is that still a thing?
Oh my God.
No. Maybe you're looking at about 10 of them out there.
DMC emo.
No, not gonna happen. It's
That
done.
sounds like a party flash out.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the next one's going to be DMC emo.
Demo may cry.
Look out for it.
So why Power Ranger folks in the Devil May Cry thing? From my experience, and this is why casting, this is why I called Jason Font and many other Power Rangers, people who had been Power Rangers or worked on the Power Rangers. I think I had Patricia Jolie audition as Lady.
Oh,
Yeah, she was at the audition for Lady, and she was runner. She was like close. She came
Oh,
to the
is that right?
callbacks. She is. Who else did we have? I'm trying to think. So I called in. I think. Oh, I had Erin Cahill come in as Lady as well. She auditioned and she got pretty far. So you guys know who she is? Right? Okay. So, anyways, the reason I called these Power Ranger actors and performers is because they knew, especially at the time when motion capture was still young in its infancies, the expressions of the face weren't on there as well. And the fingers, if you notice, like Virgil when he holds a cup. That's the detail of
Pretty much the way it goes in real life.
So especially I know, it's amazing. But in the video game, that would somehow magically stick to his hand
without closing it, right?
without closing his hand. Exactly. So the performances needed to be a little more exaggerated, and because of all these guys and girls have been in the Power Ranger realm, things are a little more. If you haven't noticed, things are a little more exaggerated than they are with just regular acting. And we are cartoon characters. We're superheroes. We're bigger than life, even if we weren't cartoons. But I mean, if we were animation, we're like superhero animations. We're not like, Simpsons.
You need a physical actor.
Physical actors. So we're
physically be a bit more animated.
Physical actors who can understand that type of acting. It's almost a special type of acting.
Well, this was when motion capture was new, so
You had to exaggerate a little bit.
Yeah. And then once we got to Devil May Cry 4, new platform, new system, the technology was way better. We had facial recognition, but even still, you're still playing animated characters, so things have to be a little bit bigger. And I think these guys understand it, and I just knew not even to waste time with calling in actors who didn't have that sort of mentality, that experience. So that's why I just went straight to former Power Ranger folks who I've worked with. The suit acting and also working with Japanese cultures, because the Japanese, Power Rangers had, Koichi and everybody else working there, and then working in this sort of bilingual international.
wow, Reuben, at least 7 people have won that room since you've been talking.
I'll let somebody else know.
You are killing it.
I'm waiting for that damn cord, so I don't have to talk at all.
Was it HDMI?
It's
How are we doing over there on technical?
No.
It's not going to happen. Any questions?
Yeah, questions. That's you.
Were you producing Devil May Cry 4 as well? Now there's the idea that Devil May Cry 4 basically feels like half the movie, since you go as near from 50%, then 50% back to Dante. He doesn't have really his own enemy, he's always on boss, he's always on him. Now is it true that Devil May Cry 4 had like a lot more to it? Like most games usually do like the Devil May Cry 4 basically have like 50% more in your hand or like their own side of the story or something like that.
Nope.
So literally, it's something like for you, and then you go backwards.
It was called Running Out of Ideas and Running Out of Time.
Ideas in the time.
And then we have
And it was probably one of those things where it was like Reuben was saying something like, "No, we don't believe you. We're going to do it this way."
That would have been nice, but no. In this I didn't produce the game side. I only produced the cinematics. So the actual in-game stuff was a whole different team. But what I can say, what I know from having the communications with those guys, was that to appease the Dante fans, they wanted to squeeze Dante in there somewhere and give them playability as Dante. So they sort of, what do you call it? Forced, even though, you know, with gameplay and story, you know when you force something, it's like, wow, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't really work, but it kind of, in their minds, they had to do it to appease the fans. So they forced Dante into the game. It really was a Nero game.
I read the recent article. The article came in 2013. It was like a draft article that was like released in America like this October. And it said the game was supposed to be 70% Nero, 30% So who knows exactly what.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate. And I think, you know, it probably was even more Nero, and then they just knew that they had to squeeze Dante in there. But then they were like, well, they were thinking, well, what are all the Dante fans? Are they going to get pissed off because Dante's not in this?
And then, as usual, they tack on Virgil at the end.
Like 10 years later, or 7 years later. No, so they, yeah, that's from my understanding is they just were trying to make something that it wasn't, but still try to, you know, they force it a little bit.
Makes sense because Dante as a character is broken.
Is what?
Broken.
Broken.
The enemy foxes do not match up with Dante, and he has a lot of glitches. If you look at style videos online, boy howdy. It's like watching.
Did they fix those in special editions though?
So he's a flawed character.
No.
Much like the actor that portrays him.
But aren't we all flawed characters then? That's the flawed characters are the most interesting.
That's why you like him. That's why he's so popular. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
No, they didn't fix them all. Instead, they added.
Batman's a flawed character.
And then you need a perfect guy like me to come along to show you how flawed he is.
That's why you didn't get the audition and you're too perfect. You couldn't beat Dante.
Don't make me. I was drawn this way.
They didn't fix any glitches. They just added Lady, Trish, and Virgil over here, and they're even more broken than you. Especially Virgil.
Oh.
Basically,
He's talking about gameplay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I did not, that was not my work. I only did the cinematics.
I thought you directed everything. You created the series.
No, you know, that Dan Southworth is that man. He's the man that envisioned, created, masterminded.
The whole Devil May Cry 4 series.
Yes, in his home.
You know
at
why?
night.
Because I was so successful
On the
with the
bathroom.
Devil May Cry emo series that they let me direct number 4. I put it all together. I had a dream one night, came in the next morning, wrote it all down, and boom, it was done.
One more question for John. Who's better, Uncle Dante or Daddy Virgil?
Uncle Dante or Daddy Virgil? Well, you know what? I don't even know if he's ever met his dad. So,
I'm pretty sure he's died before.
yeah. He's never, so I'd have to.
Wait, he died and he's still in special edition? How's that work?
How does that work?
No, he died. Dante, I mean, Virgil didn't die.
He died in one then.
We don't talk about that. It's in a galaxy far, far away in a parallel
We don't talk
universe.
about 1 or 2. Right?
We can talk about 2.
Right?
We can talk about 1.
1 is okay. 2 is the one.
Two
that
didn't
okay.
exist.
2 doesn't exist.
No
That's right.
offense to the 2 cosplayer over here. Is that
That's
one?
1.
Oh, that's 1.
That's the official Devil May Cry 5 information you get, right?
No.
What?
No, nothing's official. Nothing here is official.
There's no officiality to any of this. We are not on the Capcom payroll, and the Capcom
If you look at
assassins are
If you look at
outside
Devil May Cry 3, Virgil,
What's that?
at the epilogue, Virgil's in hell fighting Satan himself. He's alive.
To this day, official camera says so.
No, look at Devil May Cry 3. There's nothing. The only thing official about it is official Devil May Cry 3. He's alive. At the end.
You have a question?
Yeah. How long,
Go ahead.
how long does it take you to do
I mean, that was
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
not long, right?
But the actual game takes like a couple
Yeah.
of years.
Yeah, it takes a couple years. So it's for us usually for both 3 and 4. I think total. How many hours of cinematics? There's like 2 hours of cinematics for those on average. It takes about 2 weeks because it's going at a much faster pace because you're not getting all the insert shots. All your camera work is done in post, so we're sort of doing master shots of everything. And so you go in and you block it. And we rehearsed it as well for the key scenes. So yeah, I think it's like 2 weeks is the average.
Just dinner.
I'm destroying the sugar.
It's gonna be bouncing off the walls in a minute.
They basically record us doing the scene, you know, they capture our emotions and our acting, and then they can go in and put the camera wherever, you know. You know, it's like when they shoot a movie, they'll have a master shot, and they might do a 2-shot or close-ups or get something on the action, you know, but you just shoot it like a master is like everything.
And
It's Abe, right? Abe? Is it Abe? Your name?
David.
Abe.
No. Who we talking about?
In the green shirt. Abe?
Oh, green shirt.
Brandon.
Brandon.
Brian.
Brian.
Very
Brian.
impressed. Very impressed with your own knowledge.
Brendan.
Of the game, by the way.
Are you Brendan?
Brandon?
Brandon.
Speak up, man. Very impressive, thorough knowledge of the game.
Yes.
Except for the fact that Virgil is alive. At the end of Devil May Cry, Virgil is alive. Devil May Cry 3. And he's in Devil May Cry 4. I'm sorry. You were saying something?
No, I think
It's the
we're done.
sugar, man. I'm so sorry. But I am very impressed with your knowledge. It's awesome.
Question, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a question for Dan, but I'd like your each input as well. What is your favorite snack to eat while doing?
While doing interviews? My favorite snack to eat?
You're eating a lot of snacks. So I'll figure out.
Yeah.
While voicing the characters?
Usually it's like
We
a
don't
throat
usually-
pause or
we don't
something,
usually
right?
eat anything because
I just thought I would throw the part about the game in there to tie it in with the panel, but really I'm just curious what your favorite food is.
oh, Japanese food. Best cuisine in the world.
When he gets to Japan, we can't get him out.
They basically have to deport him.
Yes, because the entire sushi volume of Japan goes down. They literally, can't fish anymore.
Ichi fish market, man. It's crack for me.
Did we go? We went to the fish market.
I didn't go. I've been to the fish market.
Oh, man.
Which I would not eat right now, by the way, because of the radiation.
Right, yeah.
Not only the bacterial, but the bacterial is fine. They know how to clean their fish there.
No, the
Japan.
bacteria is dead from the radiation. That's exactly why.
It's the radiation.
And so are you.
Or you will be in 10 years. So.
Nanotechnology will fix that.
He's right. From aliens. I've seen it. I know it. I've extracted things.
Are you sure? If they can find it.
Yeah.
From the Devil May Cry games you worked on respectively, which scenes that you did the parts for would you say were your favourite that you can remember?
If we can find my cable. I'll show you those scenes.
Yeah,
So
If
since
you
I-
could open up right here. There gets your tape. This is what's going on while you're asking the question.
What kind of
How
things
much
would we be
cool is it?
looking at? What kind of things would you be showing?
What kind of things would
Yeah.
I be showing?
Yeah.
If I had a cable?
If you had a cable.
Even though the cable's on its way, right?
It'll make it here as soon as we're done.
I just called my husband and he actually had to go buy it because nobody
Oh my gosh. So you have to do it in time.
We got like 10 minutes.
My favorite scenes. Gosh, I liked all the fight scenes. To answer your question, back there, fella with the funny accent.
The one on the holiday.
The one on the holiday. Actually, my favorite scenes were some of the fight scenes, and
any interaction I got with this guy was actually fun too.
Yeah. I have my two favorite not fight scenes, but scenes with these guys on my laptop. As soon as we get a cable, and I'll show it to you. One was the Kratos death scene. Was pretty like I almost teared up. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah. Well, if we include that, then of course with Johnny as well.
Yeah.
Next time I get to interact with this
And then with Johnny was sort of the last scene when I give him Yamato sword. I think that was like, you know, and it came together really nice. Like,
I forgot about that death scene.
Yes. Death scene.
Actually, I forgot I did all the editing.
You did.
Yeah, you were there. Actually. You were there. Because they take your voice away, and you're like, oh, all I did was the motion. No,
Right.
actually,
No, you're
actually,
full on,
There was a lot.
there's some good scenes.
There were your choices. See, this is where my frustration with the motion capture thing is because I do Chris Redfield and I've been doing Chris Redfield for years and some other characters and Dan too. We do a lot. I don't know Johnny so much, but we do a lot of motion capture performances. And that's the blueprint. Those voiceover actors go in and they have to just basically work off our performances. And they develop it. But all the people only know Roger Craig Smith. Great guy, amazing actor, great. I'm glad he did the work he did, but nobody knows that I did Chris Redfield. Like it's not even in the.
You are Chris Redfield.
I am Chris Redfield. Punch spoilers. So no, but it is because in this case with
The three
Dan,
of us are your total gaming experience.
every game out there.
Killzone, Battlefield,
Yes.
what else? Resident Evil.
Yes, yes, Devil May Cry. So it's funny because Dan doesn't even remember himself as himself, playing himself.
That's all I remember is him.
Yeah, and nobody, of course, if he can't remember, nobody else is going to remember. That's why I have my video.
And
Prove it.
here it is.
No?
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
That's not the expression we were.
Is that not going to happen? So for the whole night, can we get like an HDMI? Anybody have a projector in their car? Like
It's coming.
oh, it is. It's on the way. Okay, that you gave us that.
This is on your lap.
Oh, we got tons of questions.
Yeah. Don't they?
Yeah.
Mike, if you could give us some backstory on how the recent Devil May Cry 4 special edition came about, what motivated Capcom to bring it back.
I had heard that
Demo May Cry?
that Demo May Cry was such a disaster. I mean, it wasn't such a disaster, but it did not perform what they were wanting it to perform at near the numbers. They had expectations and everything else, and it just totally underperformed. Not that it was a bad game. I think the game I played it, I was like, oh, it was a fun game. But it's just when you you take the name of something and people are expecting a certain something, and it's just not. It's completely not what people are expecting. So to sort of prove to Capcom that the original series, that we worked on, still had some life, that still had some fandom going in it. I think that was one of the reasons to sort of do a special edition. First, to test the waters, to see if it was going to work. And I was very fearful because I'm like, that game is so old and people have moved on. I don't know if, you're going to get the response you're going to want. But obviously, it well overperformed anything that they were even expecting. So it proved to them that there is still life in the...
What came about that made Devil May Cry 4 was the awesomeness of Super 4.
Obviously, Virgil, people still like Virgil. I don't know why, but they still do. And putting him into as a playable character, I guess helped.
Damn straight.
A little bit of a backstory. They showed Virgil away a few decades ago back in 20. But was there an intention to show the connection between Zero and Virgil a bit more? Because in the final product,
so.
it seemed it was just he just comes and
them having done it just right.
Yeah. They actually, the whole Virgil being daddy connection was, originally they thought people were going
You're
to
right, Tom.
find,
I think that's funny too.
yeah, they thought they were going to, people were going to figure that out after 4, but nobody seemed to figure that out. And they were so, yeah, most people didn't. I'd go to cons, nobody knew that. And I was like, can I save this?
I actually gave it up during the interview before the game was released. Nobody caught it. I introduced Johnny as my son.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
And then,
I was like, shh, no, don't.
And then afterwards, everyone was like, "What did you do this?" Don't worry, nobody pays attention.
He was right. And they don't, so, not even, especially the guys in Japan.
People were saying that originally that Nero was too old considering the age of Virgil and not that that was the but I think it's special.
Demon sperm.
He said it.
Thousands of years old.
When in doubt, always
Decades ago, before Devil May Cry 4, Virgil's
Guys.
I'm sorry.
Oh, to dump it on the dragon.
Yeah, you guys.
the special edition sort of stretched out correcting the timeline because they were thinking it was too short of time to Nero at the age of adult.
A lot of extra time to speculate that kind of stuff. What's the next question? Let's go on back. You're next. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it to you too, since, well,
Is your question for him?
no, it's for all of you.
Yes.
If the real DMC5 is realized, what that could have been left out about your characters would you want to see realized for you to learn about your characters and for us to learn?
Total world
Ruben's not
domination.
necessary since you're not
Total world heaven and hell domination.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'd like to see more of that, the dark side potentially. You know, because there was a bit of that, the hint of Nero going darker. You know, so to explore that more might be pretty interesting. You know.
Ruben has the same answer I gave you. Next question.
I just want to work. I want to
Yes, Miss in the back.
What's the hardest part about motion capturing?
The fact that because a lot of these games tend to be very top secret, they don't give you your lines until the day of, and it's 15 pages that you have to learn on the spot. Because it's motion capture, there's no setting up and breaking down of lights whenever you change the angles of the shots, or set dressing or location changes. Every scene is just shot back to back to back to back to back, and that can be tiring. And at times daunting to stay in character with enough energy. But you get used to it.
Yeah, I think maybe that, and for me it was like it was the first thing I did motion capture wise, you know. And I was used to kind of imagining giant monsters or whatever from Power Rangers, but it's a whole different experience because you're just in a warehouse.
Yeah, you have to imagine everything.
You totally have to imagine everything. But they were really good at making things out of duct tape.
They did.
You'd be surprised. I mean,
They'll put a sawhorse in front of you and go, "This is your giant steed." I'm sure steeds don't give you splinters in your hands. But I'll walk back and forth on it and make it look like it flies. I'll tell you this, by the time we got onto Avatar, I got a chance to work on Avatar for a couple of weeks with Reuben, and they brought out this huge fiberglass dragon that they made as a mock-up so that they could get the feel of what these dragons would be like, the Na'vi are flying through the movie, if you've ever seen the movie. And I'm sitting there going, just bring out the freaking sawhorse. By that point, I'd done so many, I was like, I don't want the dragon, I want the sawhorse. I can rock that sawhorse. This thing won't be in the movie. He's got a story about it. Okay. Johnny, did you have more to add?
Yep.
Who's next? Yes, sir.
All right.
We'll get to you.
Between voice acting and motion capture and actual actual physical acting, like television or video, what do you guys, which would you say is your preference? Like, which do you enjoy more?
I miss being on a set, a real set, because
It's you.
what's that?
I feel like it's you, you know, it's more of you, you know, requires all of that, you know.
Well, what's
Although
nice-
it really depends on the role for me, I guess.
It does depend on the role. I think if you get a cool motion capture role, that's fun.
Yeah, right.
Because in motion capture, you can play roles that you normally wouldn't be cast to play.
Right.
And that's kind of fun. But on a set, you get to work with the creativity of the set designer, the prop maker, and you go there, and there's all kinds of extra ideas that inform you about your character that you may not have thought of, that I think makes it fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just like being on a set. But I started out working on a set. That may change in the future, you know. The whole acting industry, as we know, like, may be different another 20 years from now. As technology gets better. I mean, we might be acting on holographic stages, which would be very beneficial in terms of time efficiency and everything. And you'll be reaching yourself. Acting will have to be, how long does it look like you're picking up that glass of water? That's a little heavy, so. No, a little more. Glass is half full. So you say. No, probably something like that. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, miss. We're going to get to you next. Yes.
Do you know where Mikey is?
Emo? Dan, Emo, Southworth.
The vowel only? So Dan? Maybe
Demo?
Demo? Demon.
She's figured us out. We must kill the human now. All of them. You were gonna ask a question.
What was the audition process like for the role of Dante, and how did you guys feel when you got a separate character like Nero and Virgil?
For me, it was, I can't remember exactly, but there was a confrontation between, I think it was Dante and Virgil.
I thought so, or was it Dante and Nero?
Well, when I did it, when I auditioned as Dante, it was Dante and Virgil.
No, I thought it was Dante. It was Dante and Nero. I thought it was Dante and Nero.
No, this was for 3.
Oh, is that what you're talking about for 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and well, that's when you auditioned for Dante as
Yeah,
well.
I can barely remember it. All I remember is them. It was just I played both characters the same. I went,
Yeah, I mean, I just played one, and I don't remember a whole lot. I just remember there's a confrontation, and yeah, actually, I don't really remember a whole lot about it.
It's hard. I mean, it's almost like I don't remember auditioning as Virgil. All I remember is auditioning as Dante, and they went, "We're going to give you this other character."
We might have to do some tricks or kicks.
I had to do some sword swinging and
Right.
foot flinging.
Like auditioning for Power Rangers.
Same thing. Did you guys know we both auditioned for the same role in Power Rangers?
Adam Park. Yeah. Where I first met him.
That's how we knew each other. Yeah, we screen tested for the same role. It was funny. And then he got the show, and then I did the live show 6 months later, playing the same role. And then it was really funny. It was really funny. I go, that's the dude I screen tested with. He's on the screen, and then I come out on live stage doing exactly that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? You know, I didn't know that he got that part until I was working on the stage show. And by then, I was like, well, the stage show was pretty cool to work on too, because we got to travel the world. So you know, and you know what? It's so funny. I always had this feeling that I would end up back on that show, because I knew that they would eventually, especially when they started changing up the incarnations. I just always had a feeling I'd end up back on that show, and so I did. So I didn't ever feel any kind of animosity.
You know, as an actor, I mean, you go out for so many different things. You audition so much. As soon as you walk out, yeah, you might have that like, man, I really like to book that, but you don't hang on to it.
You
You know, because if you do, then you're just gonna be depressed. Because you audition 100 times, you'll get one part.
Yeah, if you hold on to some of those characters, you'll be clinically depressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. They called me. The director called me. The stunt coordinator recommended.
Mortal Kombat X?
No, Mortal Kombat Legacy 2.
Oh, Legacy. Oh.
The web series on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's where that picture is from.
Yeah, yeah. Kevin Tancherone directed it. He's doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. His sister actually co-produces Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or actually she produces. Anyway, they reached out to me and they weren't paying me very much. And I remember going, oh man, it's great. It's so nice to have people call you directly and go, we want you to do the role. No audition, nothing. Until you hear the second part, we can only pay you this much. And I won't say how much it was, but it's enough to make you happy. All right. So that means it's gonna be about okay. All right, I'll come away with this. That's enough to buy some rice, I guess. But the role was great. And so when you get those opportunities, you have to ask yourself, this is what I'm here for.
Right.
And so I was like, I got to do this role, and I'm glad I did.
Yes. Sure.
Go ahead.
Question for Reuben, how's it going? Not good.
Next question.
Yes, sir.
What is the coolest animal? A frog, an elephant, or a dinosaur?
What?
Is that our only choices?
Yeah.
Frog, elephant, or what?
Or a dinosaur? Did you say any dinosaur?
Well,
A metallic one.
A metallic dinosaur? Well,
Is that count as an animal?
I pick frog. But I have to share Mastodon with Walters. Yes.
Is there anything you can tell us about doing Iron Fist?
No. Well, I mean, all I can tell you is that, yeah, that's happening. But I don't know when the character is being released. I thought it was going to be November, but I don't really know. And I'm excited for it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, that's one of those characters that I'm familiar with, you know. But I went in acting like I didn't know anything.
Are we going to be able to go over? Is this going to happen? What's going on, you guys?
We're getting the time to cut off so we can start the next one.
Did you just get it? No.
It's not, I didn't think so.
Bummer.
That's
All right, well, it's a bunch of cool stuff.
Viewfinder. Image.
Most of
Heading
it's-
not found. Viewfinder.
There you go.
0, 47,
It's a
58.
lot cooler, though.
Viewfinder. Image.
Yeah, because we can
Viewfinder. Image. Heading not found. Viewfinder.
That'll be another opportunity.
0, 40. Stop recording video.